Hi there, welcome back to your math workshop for today. So today we're going to be talking about division and the number 1. So I want us to think a little bit about dividing a number by 1 or dividing it by itself. So let's take a look at these top two problems. So we have 9 divided by 1 and 9 divided by 9. So I want you to think for just a moment and first see if you can come up with the answers, and then see if you can find explanations or ways that you could explain your answer. And if you need to, go ahead and pause this video while you think about it. Okay, so we could say that 9 divided by 1 is 9, because you're saying how many ones are in 9, and there are 9 ones in 9, right? Or another way that we could think about it is that you could put this into a story context. Imagine that you have $9. And you want to give $1 to each of your friends. How many friends would you end up giving $1 to? 9, right? Okay, so we all seem to agree that 9 divided by 1 is equal to 9. We also say that 9 divided by 9 is equal to 1. Well, what about these problems? We have 10 divided by 1 and 10 divided by 10, 12 divided by 1, 12 divided by 12, and 20 divided by 1 and 20 divided by 20. So first, I want to think about this column. What happens when you divide a number by 1? Then I also want us to think about this column. So what happens when you divide a number by itself? So we have 20 divided by itself. It's also divided by 20. So again, if you need to pause this video for just a moment, I want you to think about how you could explain what happens with those equations. So we're going to start by talking about what happens when you divide it by a number by 1. So what's a good general rule or a good rule of thumb or a way that we could explain what happens? Taking a look here. So you might say that no matter how many things you might have 10, you might have 12, you might have 20. If you put them in groups of 1, that's going to be how many groups you'll have, because there's just 1 in each group, right? So like if you have 20 and you put them in groups of 1, you're going to have 20 groups, because there's, right? 1 in each group. All right, so we could agree then that when you divide a number by 1, the answer is going to be the same as the number, right? So if you divide 20 by 1, it's going to be 20. So I want you then to think about, let's look at this column over here. So thinking about, what about if you divide a number by itself? What's a general rule that we could think of, or a way that we could explain that rule? And again, pause the video if you need a moment just to think about it. So it's kind of the same thing we just talked about, right? Very similar, but the opposite. So if you divide a number by itself, like if we say 20 divided by itself or divided by 20, the answer is going to be 1, right? So 10 divided by 10 is equal to 1. 12 divided by 12 is equal to 1. 9 divided by 9 is equal to 1. You could also say, or if it's how many that you have in each group that you want is still 1, you have, so let's imagine you have 20 donuts, and you want to put an equal number into 20 different bags. How many go in each bag? 1, right? Beautiful. So then we could say that our rule is that when you divide a number by itself, the answer is always going to be 1. Okay. So making sure as you are working on any division problems, you're keeping this in mind. Today, you're going to be working on just practicing some division problems. So your worksheet today is going to be not necessarily dividing by 1 or by itself, but you're working on your division. So make sure you show your work to solve. Good luck, have fun, and I'll see you next time.